Okay. Comments? The honourable member from Winnipeg South.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I was not aware until today that the honourable member from Transcona Elmwood would be giving his farewell address, and I just have a few comments, Mr. Speaker, as others will, but I really just want to very sincerely thank him for his incredible service to this House and to his community. And, Mr. Speaker, I am a fellow Transconan, born and raised in Winnipeg, but most of my formative years in Transcona. I lived right across the street, Mr. Speaker, from his grandfather. Literally, I could look in their side window. I didn't, but I could have. And of course, I knew his father very well, and often shared a plane ride or two with him. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, he was so proud of his son and the great parliamentarian that he had become in just a few short years. I was a classmate of his uncle, so I was intimately connected with his family, a great Transcona family who was very much beloved, as the honourable member is now. The place we come from, working class suburb, a railway town, really, I think the honourable member would agree, made us very sensitive to the needs of working people, of the aspirations of the middle class, and I still call Transcona home, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to go on. I just want to again thank the member and thank him for his contribution to this House, to my province, to our country. He is an intelligent, thoughtful, always well-prepared member of this House. I wish him well. I know his service will continue for the country, but very importantly for the province we both love, Manitoba. I wish the honourable member well.
Thank the honourable member from Winnipeg South. The honourable member from Prince George. Peace River.
Northern Rockies.
And Northern Rockies. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'll just say a brief few words. It's one thing I'd like to say to the member across the way. We got to know each other around the prayer breakfast when I chaired it, and he stepped up with his being a representative of his party and a person of faith himself. And I just want to say wish you well, I guess, from our party to you. I know you're much too young to retire. You have a family. You're going back home. You're going to be home a little bit more than you've been with all this travel. Believe me, I understand. But just God bless and bless your family as you move into the next phase of your life.
L'honorable député de Joliette.
The honourable member for Joliette. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm using a compliant microphone. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank and commend my colleague and friend. I would like to highlight his commitment for one of the most noble parts of entering politics, that is, to help people and to improve their lives, especially those of workers and the more popular classes. I would like to commend his way of doing politics, both feet anchored into the ground whilst not renouncing his values. The member for Elmwood Transcona is someone who is intelligent. He is the incarnation of Canada's left. Close to the workers' unions and the interests of ordinary people, pragmatic, always firm on his principles. Mr. Speaker, it's always a pleasure to work with this Member of Parliament, both in the House and in committee. On the Finance Committee, he was our Jedi when it came to breaking deadlocks. He's always come up with solutions that reconcile differences. It's a rare talent, often imitated, but never equalled. I agree that it is a great opportunity to be able to work with the Premier of Manitoba, the bearer of so much hope. I wish him every success in continuing to make a real difference to the lives of ordinary people in his new role. I also wish him more time with his family. Dear Daniel, thank you for everything and see you soon.
The honourable member from Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm just not going to get over missing this member for a very long time, probably never. And one reason is, he knows this, I loved his dad so very much. His dad, Bill Blaikie, was a grand friend and a voice for this planet. And I'm thinking the other day, I remember your dad through the speaker, I remember his dad talking about climate change in this place in 1986. A brave and courageous, a man of great heart. And this member, Elmwood Transcona, is a chip off the old block. Someone who speaks with knowledge, speaks with profound understanding of the Westminster parliamentary tradition. There's probably nobody else in this place who could get as passionate about confidence conventions as this member from Elmwood Transcona. And I had the great privilege over the last little while, because I really disapprove of heckling. And I've never heckled, not once, and I wouldn't have liked it if this member had heckled, except at the very end there, that was primo. I've just got to say, I did benefit from his sotto voce comments, a kind of a running commentary on the theater of the absurd that I was privileged to be one of the few people who could hear, because it didn't violate the rules and it didn't travel all the way up to the Speaker's chair. All I can say is that I've been impressed so far, very impressed, with Premier Wab Kinew. And I'm going to someday forgive him for drawing this fine member out of this place where the hole that will be left by the absence of his voice, not to mention the address to the haggis, he'll have to come back. There's just no doubt that we can't do Robbie Barnes night dinner around here without a Blaikie in place. And that I will look forward to somehow, some way. But Godspeed. And may I say, well, what the heck? I can't, through you, Mr. Speaker, I love you. I'm going to miss you something fierce. And thank you for your service to this country. Aww.
The honourable member from Burnaby South, l'honorable député de Burnaby Sud.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising today with a bit of mixed emotion, I have to say, because as I pay tribute to and express gratitude for my dear friend and colleague, the member for Elmwood Transcona, I am both excited for the opportunity that this presents for his family and for the province of Manitoba. I'm also deeply saddened by the loss that it's going to mean for me as a leader and for us as a team. I want to acknowledge right off the bat that his late father, Bill, and mother, Brenda, did a great job. They made not just a great human in the member for Elmwood Transcona, but all the kids. I mean, you would think you got a number of kids you might miss here or there, but every single one of them are incredible. So big shout out to the great work done by some fabulous parents. I think about this speech as almost a bit of a resume, if I could. So that it's on the record for folks to know what this great member has accomplished. First of all, for folks who don't know, we talk about sometimes the idea of a poet warrior or a philosopher warrior. This is a philosopher electrician. Someone who has a master's degree in philosophy and is a Red Seal electrician. Someone who brings and combines the idea of being a worker who has worked on the front lines as a proud member of IBEW, and someone who has the heart of a philosopher, and brings that to this parliament. That already is something pretty phenomenal. But you think about the way he's done his work. I have to say he has brought in a particular element that I think is very unique to the prairies. There's prairie pragmatism that comes from having been in a province where we know for the past 5 decades, the majority of that time, this province was governed by a new democratic government that ran on the principle and governed on the principles of compassion and competency and getting stuff done. And that is very much what you see in the member for Elmwood Transcona. This principle of having deep compassion and care. You heard it in his speech. He cares deeply about workers, cares deeply about people, but also wants to get things done. And as he's played many roles in our team, he's been caucus chair, and most recently he has been my critic for finance. And I think you will have difficulty, Mr. Speaker, finding another finance critic from any opposition, but particularly the fourth party, who has played such an outsized role in shaping our country. He has been integral on a committee that is set up to ensure that the Liberals follow through on commitments we forced them to do, and he has been integral in making these things happen. He has played a fundamental role in shaping our country when it comes to bringing in and negotiating record-breaking, history-making dental care and pharmacare programs. Programs which are going to save and improve the lives of millions of people, ensuring that people have access to needed medication as well as access to dental care, which we know has direct impacts on health. He has been integral in making that happen. We have forced this Liberal government to make significant changes, and I have to say with confidence I could not have done that work without having the member for Elmwood-Transcona there. I also want to share, as someone who has a young family, I know the incredible sacrifice that is involved. And so I also want to take a moment to acknowledge Janelle and their two incredible kids, Robert and Noah. Thank you for sharing your pops and your partner with us. It has made a huge difference in the lives of Canadians. I hope you know how much it was worth it. I know sometimes it maybe didn't feel like it when he was so far away, but it has made a huge difference in this country. Losing that member from Elmwood-Transcona is going to certainly feel like a loss, but it's also an opportunity, and I always look at the positive side of things. We know that he's not far away. It's a neighboring province from Ontario, so we'll get over there pretty quickly if we need to. And he's also going to be continuing to do great work to ensure that the people of Manitoba receive significant and important investments from this federal government. So I acknowledge that great work. And I want to acknowledge the Premier of Manitoba for having the vision to have recruited such an incredible member. Premier Canoe, I'm a little bit sad, but I think you did a great job because this is an incredible addition to any team. So you think you did the right thing for your province. I just want to touch on some of the other kind of interesting notes about the member for Elmwood-Transcona. I had never actually been to a address to the Haggis before in life, and the first time I actually went to one was when I was invited by the member for Elmwood-Transcona. I didn't realize that, first of all, he would have such an epic presence at this event. I didn't realize he was such a great bagpipe player, another thing on his resume that should be added. And then I didn't know the humor, because I've always thought of him as this philosopher, this hardworking member of the Electrical Workers Brotherhood. And then I heard him break out into a Scottish accent, which I didn't know was a thing, and just regale the crowd with incredible humor. And so I thought, this is an incredible package. A philosopher, electrician, member of parliament, plays the bagpipe, can regale a crowd with Scottish accent, and it was an incredible experience. Thank you for everything that the member has contributed to this parliament. Thank you for, through you, Mr. Speaker, for the work that you've done on our team. Our movement is better because of you. You have done your father proud, I know, and your mother proud, and your family proud.
If members will permit me, I'd also like to just thank the honourable member for Elmwood-Transcona for his years of undying service to his people and to the people of Canada. And like the leader of the NDP had just mentioned, I discovered many things about this member, and only very recently as I assumed this role as a speaker. And one of them is that I did know that the member spoke English and French. I had no idea that he spoke Gaelic enough to fool me. If he's not fluent in it, it's pretty darn close. I appreciated his address to the Haggis, which will always be a memory, and I hope that he will honor us by coming back every Robbie Burns Day to participate in the ceremonies here on the Hill. I know that he'll always be welcome with warm and open arms by all members of this House. Thank you, sir, for your great service to Canada.